Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Albedo, Shalltear and Aura. Part 1. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, so without wasting any time let's get into the video. Being immortal honestly wasn't all that fun as some people made it out to be. Naruto was used to seeing humanity rise and perish before his eyes. He had fulfilled his obligations, every threat to the world had been taken care of, and humanity lived in peace. Naruto for a long time believed he had actually made a difference, but turns out that when humanity doesn't have an enemy to group up and fight against, they were completely fine fighting amongst themselves instead. Naruto himself wasn't sure when he became immortal, it just happened one day, while his family and loved ones began growing old and died. Of course, Naruto tried killing himself many times, without any luck though, and so Naruto kept walking the earth. Always doing his best to keep out of any human conflicts. It was quite weird seeing the downfall of the shinobi era to a far more primitive time period and finally back to a vastly more civilized world. Naruto thought he was doomed to an eternal boring life, having tried everything this world had to offer, but then humanity invented something called video games, new worlds to explore, and many thousand of hours to kill, which was just what Naruto needed. In the year 2126, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, or just the MMORPG for short, called Yggdrasil was released, and Naruto could safely say he had some of the most fun in over 1,000 years. But games kept changing and evolving, and in the year 2138, it was announced the servers would soon shut down for good. Nazarick Round Table Room. Naruto took a seat at the round table, slightly disappointed that none of the other members had chosen to show up on the final day the servers were still up. Then again, he couldn't blame them, they were human and had normal human stuff to do, like work, earn money and spend time with their families. Naruto didn't have to worry about any of these things anymore. Honestly, he felt a little guilty. One of the guild's rules to join was to be a functioning member of society, something Naruto wasn't. Naruto had amassed vast treasures across his unnatural long life and used it for temporary residence and forgery of documents, but something like sleep or food was no longer necessary for him. Naruto had picked the Yokai class. His avatar was based mostly around what Naruto believed he would look like if he merged with Kurama, with long red hair, red slithered eyes and sharp nails. It was quite awkward, having made no attempt to find friendship in the real world for many thousands of years, and yet, he remembered the names and appearances of the other 40 members of Ainzuel. Yggdrasil was all about exploration, dungeons, PvP, raids and treasure collecting, and he can honestly say, it's been a blast. After tonight he was most likely just going to find a new popular game, but still he felt weirdly sentimental about this place now. Harem has logged on. Naruto let out a little surprised sound. Naruto, it's good to see you. The slime Harem spoke, seeing Naruto sitting only a few chairs besides him. Harem, it's been a while, how have you been holding up? Naruto asked, happily surprised by the unexpected visit. Terribly, I've just become a father for a second time, a week ago. The slime spoke with a clear sound of exhaustion. Well then, a congratulation is in order, boy or girl? Naruto asked, more than happy, striking up a conversation. The second girl, I'm happy of course, but I had hoped for one of each if you understand anyway. I'm quite surprised to see the place still standing. Is Momonga still guild master? Harem questioned. I didn't even know you had a daughter to begin with. Naruto thought to himself. Sadly no, that's on me now. Momonga got a promotion at his work and couldn't find the time anymore, so I've taken over the position. Naruto explained. I see, well from the look of things, you've done a great job. Sorry, but I'm exhausted, I just needed one last look before it all disappears. Harem explained. I understand, please take good care of yourself. Naruto said with a small wave of his hand. Harem has logged off. Barely 2 minutes and he was the first player Naruto had seen in such a long time. Throwing his gaze back at the guild's greatest treasure, the staff of Ainzuel, Naruto remembered the height of the game and how much they all grinded together. Well, there is still an hour left, might as well mess around a little. Naruto thought as he grabbed the staff and left the room. He doubted any of the other guild members would have any objection, with Naruto changing a few settings. When did I put you guys here? Naruto spoke to himself as he saw Sebastian and the Pleiades battle maids, all bowing respectfully before him, sadly though they didn't respond to him. Well anyway, head for the throne room. Naruto gave a quick command, and with a quick bow they all turned around and left. Naruto spent a good portion of the time left to visit his own 3 NPCs he had created and made sure they were left in good shape, as well as visiting one NPC that had always bugged Naruto, simply because he thought its settings were too sad. Surely no one would mind at this point. Checking the in-game time, Naruto noticed only a few minutes were left before the game closed down forever. Using the ring of Ainzul, Naruto appeared just outside the throne room and watched its massive door slowly opening in front of him. Walk up towards the throne. Naruto looked over the countless banners symbolizing all of the guild's members. They all had such strange names, yet it was Naruto they teased, since he was the only one who used his original name for his avatar. Albedo the Guardian Overseer was waiting patiently next to the throne. "What about you, Albedo, are you like your sisters?" Naruto wondered to himself as he opened Albedo settings. Let's see here. Beauty to enchant an entire nation, views herself as a goddess, smile like a poker face. A bitch. You're a bitch. Naruto stopped when he read the final line and looked at Albedo unmoving face. Well, Naruto quickly changed the final line. She's madly in love with Naruto. You won't tell Tabula, will you? Naruto asked, but once more he got no respond. Time. Naruto commanded. 11:59 and 39 seconds. Everyone bow. Naruto spoke and all the NPCs went down on one knee. I suppose this is fine. Well, it's been fun. I hope I can have as much fun in the next game. 11:59 and 58 seconds. Naruto closed his eyes and waited to be logged off. 11:59 and 59 seconds. 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock and 1 second. 12 o'clock and 2 seconds. What's going on? Did they push the server shutdown back? Naruto thought, moving his hand up. He attempted to bring up the menu, but with no such luck. What's going on? Naruto muttered out to himself. Is something wrong, my lord? Naruto almost jumped out of his throne by the sudden voice, his red eyes quickly turning to investigate Albedo's golden ones. Did you just speak? Naruto asked, confused, though Albedo looked even more confused than him, her head tilting slightly. My lord, are you alright? She asked once more, and Naruto blinked in shock. I can't bring up my menu. Naruto answered, still in somewhat disbelief of what he was seeing in front of him right now. Menu, if it's food you desire, the chefs will make whatever you desire, my lord. Albedo spoke happily. That's now what I meant. Turning his gaze away from Albedo, Naruto noticed Sebas and the battle maids still in their kneeling position. Sebas. Naruto simply spoke the name and he instantly saw the gleam in the butler's eyes. My lord. Take the battle maids and head outside. I wish to confirm our surroundings. Naruto ordered. At once, my lord. Sebas spoke quickly as he stood up and headed outside, the Pleiades quickly following behind. Do you have any orders for me, my love? Albedo spoke quickly, surprising Naruto as she was suddenly right next to him. Naruto hadn't even seen her move. Then something hit his nose, a sort of sweet floral scent. Must be Albedo's perfume, it smells good. Even her hands were smooth and soft weight hands. Naruto looked down and saw Albedo had placed both her hands on his open chest. Naruto was only wearing a simple loose blood red yukata that matched his eyes and hair. She's alive. Naruto had to come to terms with that fact, still there was something he liked to try. Albedo, is it fine if I touch your chest? Naruto asked bluntly, and despite the awkwardness of the question, Naruto felt surprisingly calm. Of course, my lord, touch me to your heart's desire. Albedo spoke eagerly with a large blush as she moved even closer, while pushing her large chest up towards Naruto. Naruto moved his right hand up and squeezed one of her breasts. So soft, no wait, this shouldn't be possible. Adult actions were strictly off limits, even when Naruto and the other guild members had stripped some of the NPCs naked to change their outfits, their privates had been censored off. On my love. Albedo moaned and Naruto suddenly snapped out of his thoughts, only to notice he was still groping her chest. He quickly moved his hand back. Sorry Albedo, I didn't mean to. This where I will experience my first. Her face was red, moving up on the throne she mounted Naruto, while she placed her hands on his shoulders. What should I do about my clothing? Want me to remove them, or perhaps you like to rip them off yourself? She asked, while Naruto felt a weird sense of excitement building. Something was definitely off about this entire situation. He had to come to terms with what's happening, but for some reason Albedo's proposal didn't sound that bad. Albedo, sorry, but we have more pressing matters to attend to. Naruto reminded her, while Albedo looked a bit surprised, but quickly removed herself from Naruto's lap. Of course, forgive me my lord. She spoke quickly with a deep bow. Of course, except for Gargantua who's guarding the 4th floor and Victim who's guarding the 8th floor, gather the floor guardians at the amphitheater on the 6th floor. Naruto spoke while grabbing the staff of Ainzul. It will be done my lord. Albedo spoke and then Naruto teleported away. Amphitheater. Naruto was slowly walking into the center of the arena. This was a place they had created for no other reason than pitting monsters against each other and watch them fight to the death, though it was also a trial for invading player who had to overcome monsters here to pass on down to the 7th floor. He still wasn't sure if all of this was reality or not. Honestly, it sounded like one of those isekai animes that were popular 100 years ago, but then again, if that was the case. Lord Naruto. Naruto's gaze moved up as he saw the young dark elf landing in front of him after a high jump. Why hello Aura, I hope you don't mind me coming so abruptly like this. Naruto asked with a small smile. Of course, not Lord Naruto, every floor guardian would feel blessed by you visiting their floor. Aura spoke quickly with a wide smile. Naruto looked around for a moment. And where exactly is Mayor? Naruto questioned, while Aura turned around and looked up towards one of the stands. Mayor, get down here, you're insulting Lord Naruto. Aura yelled, while Naruto finally saw the dark elf, looking quite unsure as he was in a high stand, looking down. But sis, I'm scared. Mayor. Aura yelled once more, and finally the young boy jumped down completely unharmed. Sorry for making you wait, Lord Naruto. Mayor apologized, while Naruto watched the twins. Of course Byakuya Chigama would have them cross-dress, honestly most of the NPCs were just fetishes given form. Lord Naruto, what brings you to our floor, how can we serve you? Aura asked with a gleam in her eyes which Mayor matched. I will tell you shortly, soon the guardians will gather here, and I rather not repeat myself. Naruto answered. Of course, Lord Naruto. Aura answered, while her and Mayor's eyes were glued to something behind Naruto. Naruto, noticing something had caught both the twins' attention, turned his head to see what was so exciting, only to see his own 9 tails swinging around behind his back. He had forgot he even had them. Focusing on his tails, he found them as easy to control as his own arms. Turning his gaze back towards the twins. Want to touch them? Naruto asked, only for a bright smile to appear on both their faces. May we? The twins asked hopefully, while Naruto simply moved a single tail closer to each of them, and the twins quickly latched on. If this was like the game, then he should also be able to withdraw all of the tails into his back. Well, he could try that later, for now he would let the twins have their fun. A portal suddenly opened up and out came a beautiful young woman, with pale white skin, crimson red eyes, much like Naruto's own. Oh, my, am I the first to show up? Shalltear questioned, while Naruto was pulling his tails back. If any more people came and saw Mayor and Aura fondling his tails, he doubted the others would let it slide. Greetings Shalltear, thank you for coming at such a short notice. Naruto looked at her fondly. He remembered the outfit she was wearing per Oroncino had won it in a gacha machine. Naruto remembered how happy he was, and then he logged off, never to be seen again. My beloved beautiful Naruto, of course I will almost do my utmost and come to your side as soon as you call for me. The true vampire spoke as she ran up and latched her hands around Naruto's neck. It's good seeing you too. Naruto simply replied as he undid the girl's hand lock around his head and slowly put her down again. Ugh, what's with this rotten small, are you already decomposing? Aura suddenly asked as she locked eyes with Shalltear. Huh, what was that shorty, truly I pity you Mayor having such an annoying elder sister. Shalltear fired, while Aura bit her lower lip. Fake boobs. Wah. Looks like I hit the nail there, huh? Is that why you teleported into the middle of the Colosseum? You were afraid of running because of how much you overstuffed that bra of yours? Aura asked with a small wicked grin. How, as if you're one to talk with that washboard of yours. Shalltear fired back, with her own small smile. True enough, but I'm only 76 years old, and still growing. You on the other hand is quite past expiration date. Aura spoke mockingly. You must have a death wish, shrimp. Shalltear spoke coldly. That's quite enough, you two, there will be time to play amongst yourself later. Naruto spoke gently, and just like that both Aura and Shalltear stopped abruptly and turned towards him and gave a quick bow. Of course, Lord Naruto. They spoke at the same time. It was almost scary how much they resembled their creators. Disgraceful to act like squabbling children in front of a supreme being. A new voice filled the arena. It's quite alright Cocytus, in fact I'm quite happy hearing how energetic they are. Naruto responded. Still, I must agree with Cocytus, to act in such an informal way in front of Lord Naruto, how disgraceful. Another new voice, and Naruto watched as Albedo, Demiurge and Sebas all approached. Wonderful, everyone I requested for is present. Naruto was caught a little off guard when everyone present kneeled before him. Should he start getting used to the sight? With the exception of Gargantua and Vitsum, all of the floor guardians have gathered before you. We serve and obey. Albedo spoke calmly. We serve and obey. The other guardians repeated after her. There was a small break in which nothing was said, afraid they might have insulted their lord. They slowly looked up. Naruto wore a large feral grin that sent shiver down all the guardians and Seba's back. Most wonderful, truly you warm my old heart with your words. You're not old, my lord. You're the pinnacle of youth and beauty. Truly, please don't call yourself such. Slowly Naruto brought a single finger up to his lips, and just like that silence fell back down over the NPCs. I don't doubt the kindness of your words, but I wasn't done speaking. Please refrain from interrupting me again, otherwise I might get a little mad. Naruto's words were sweet and gentle, which only served to make them even more frightening to the guardians, and Naruto himself was a bit surprised. Where in the world did that come from? Their answer was a quick nod. Good then, Sebas. My lord? Sebas asked, standing up. You've been outside, please tell us all about our current surroundings. Naruto asked, unsure of what to expect. Yes, my lord, we're currently surrounded in flatlands covered in grass, which spans at least a kilometer around Nazarick in all directions. Sebas reported. Grassland, no signs of monsters? Naruto questioned. No, my lord, there were signs of non-intelligent animals such as wild horses, but nothing else. Sebas answered. I see, well then clearly we're not in Yggdrasil anymore, no one seemed to have an idea of how this happened I assume. Naruto asked and everyone seemed to exchange a few looks amongst themselves. Forgive me Lord Naruto, but it doesn't seem anyone know how or why we have been teleported to this strange land. Albedo spoke up. Very well, for the time being, we are all unaware of what this world holds for us, and such for the time being, I'm going to raise the security of Nazarick, we will also need a way to conceal the entrance to our tomb, any ideas on that matter? Lord Naruto. Yes Mayor. Would it be possible for us to cover our walls with dirt and raise surrounding hills to better blend in with our surroundings? Mayor spoke, pleasantly surpassing Naruto. You would smear Nazarick glorious walls with dirt. Albedo interjected. Enough Albedo, I agree with Mayor. Naruto said firmly, which stopped any complaint from the succubus. Now then due to these new circumstances, I want to bestow all of my guardians with a ring of Ainzul gown. Naruto spoke and got quite a few looks shock. But those are the rings only the supreme beings wear, we aren't worthy of such an honor. Albedo spoke quickly. You think much too little of yourself, at the moment we sadly have more rings than supreme beings present in Nazarick, and I believe you will all be able to more efficiently complete your duties with free teleportation around the tomb. Naruto answered. In that case, we will accept this great honor, my lord. Albedo spoke once more. But that being said, please remember that both the treasury and the 8th floor is still strictly off limits, without my permission. Naruto reminded them. A few of them looked confused, but none dared question the decision of a supreme being. Finally, I'm quite curious to hear what you all think of me, your first Shalltear, and please be honest. Naruto requested. You're the very incarnation of beauty and power and the only man in this world my heart belongs to. Naruto was a little surprised by the lack of hesitation in Shalltear words. I see in Cocytus. The strongest being in Nazarick and the only supreme being left. There. The very kind person. Aura. The most magnificent beast tamer in all of Nazarick and my idol. Demiurge. The wise leader who carefully plans ahead and acts on the most logical approach. Sebas. The truly merciful leader who stayed behind with Nazarick until the very end. And finally, Albedo. Our most exalted master, truly the greatest among the supreme beings and my future husband. I see, thank you all for your honesty, for now return to your floors, with the exception of you Mayor I want you to begin covering up our location at once. Dismissed. With that Naruto teleported away and the Grand Colosseum quickly disappeared in front of his eyes and was replaced with his personal bedroom on the 9th floor. Being completely alone Naruto hunched over and grasped his face with one hand. This is reality, this is actually happening Naruto slowly begun. Finally, something to kill my endless boredom. A new world, magic and a new body, oh how wonderful. Naruto exclaimed to himself, for the first time in thousands of years, he felt himself getting tired and hungry again, he felt alive once more. Amphitheater. The silence had filled the place after their lord had left them. Amazing, my body is still shivering from excitement. Albedo spoke as she was the first to stand up, while everyone slowly followed suit. As expected of a supreme being, what a wonderful powerful aura he emitted. Kasada spoke. The truth was Naruto had simply forgotten about his passive domination aura and had forgot to turn it off. Indeed I might just have to go change my underwear after that, I think it went through a bit of a crisis. Shalltear spoke while panting. There was a bit of silence after, no one really sure how to respond to that, though Albedo had an idea. You filthy bitch. Albedo fired at her, how dared this little flat vampire believe she had any chance with her darling Naruto. After being rewarded with all of that wonderful energy, anyone who doesn't get wet from something like that must have a screw loose, or could you possibly already be too old, you big-chested gorilla. Shalltear fired back. Lamprey. Whore. The other guardians simply let out a small sigh, while Sebas had already left. Well then this looks like a lady's problem, best of luck Aura. Demiurge simply said, while everyone began leaving. Suddenly Aura was left alone to take care of Albedo and Shalltear. Next day. Naruto's bedroom. My lord please wake up. Naruto's crimson eyes slowly opened as someone called out to him, seeing the maid in front of him, he recalled what has happened, he was in Nazarick, and this woman in front of him was clearly one of the homunculus maids, though he couldn't remember her name. Good morning. Naruto spoke while slowly sitting up in the bed and brought a hand up to begin rubbing some sleep out of his eyes. The homunculus maid couldn't help but give a small blush as she found the action rather cute. "Good morning, my lord. I'm Increment. I will be attending to all your needs for today." Increment spoke while Naruto observed her features. She had a rather stoic face. Was Whitebrim her creator? Possibly. He couldn't possibly hope to know who was created by whom. With everyone in the tomb, would it be disrespectful to ask? Standing up from the bed, another blush quickly emerged on the maid's face. Naruto followed the maid's eyes and quickly understood why. "It appears I require a set of clothes." Naruto spoke. He didn't remember stripping before he fell asleep though. Had it grown bigger? No, rather his entire body had gotten larger. Well, it's to be expected. "Of course, my lord. Do you have any preferences?" the maid asked with a bow. "Simple and loose." Nazarick, first floor. Teleportation sure was weird. Compared to the game, everything in front of his eyes simply changed in an instant as Naruto appeared on the first floor after having gotten dressed and eaten breakfast. He wanted to see the outside, but found his way blocked by the 3 demon generals that served Demiurge. "Oh wow, one of them have big breasts," Naruto briefly thought before giving his head a quick bonk. What's wrong with his head? Meanwhile the demons kneeled down. Demiurge, who was in the vicinity, also noticed this. "Lord Naruto, what are you doing here on the first floor?" "I can't be here." "Of course, you can, my lord, but without an armed escort," Demiurge begun, but quickly found himself lacking words. "Very well, then follow. I have yet to see this new world with my own eyes." Taking the last few steps outside, Naruto was met with a wave of clean air. Bright blue skies stretched out before him. He looked forward to uncovering all secrets of this new world. Naruto had already tested that all spells worked as they did in Yggdrasil, even items acted as they usually did. Quickly soaring through the air, Naruto easily kept going up till he breached the skies. "It's a vast world," Naruto muttered. "Indeed, Naruto-sama, if you desire, Nazarick will focus all of it might conquering it for you." Demiurge offered. Naruto gave him a small look. It's been quite a while since he's seen Demiurge in his demon form. "Conquering the world? I've spent so much time being a hero, maybe I should try being a villain. No, do I even have the ability to commit evil?" Naruto was in deep thought. "I do wish to spread the name of Nazarick to every corner of this world. Perhaps the best way to do so will be to conquer it. It might even be amusing." Naruto responded to Demiurge in a low tone, though the demon heard his words loud and clear. "By the way, remind me to thanks Mayor, he's done an excellent job." Naruto noted as he observed the many dummy hills that had been enacted around Nazarick to conceal its location. "There's no need to thank us, my lord. Serving and fulfilling your orders are the greatest honor for all guardians." "Of course, by the way, has anything been discovered yet?" Naruto questioned, hoping for something exciting. Didn't you receive the report this morning? A small village has been discovered roughly 30 kilometers from Nazarick." Instantly Naruto's fox ears stood straight up. In truth, Naruto skimmed the papers. It all just looked like useless information about materials and numbers of denizens on each floor. The page must have gone missing. Naruto lied sheepishly. "A small human settlement was discovered, though no further reconnaissance has been done." "You seem pleased by the news." Demiurge spoke. "What makes you say that?" Naruto asked, while his 9 tails were wagging behind him. Naruto's bedroom. Naruto had quickly retreated back to his room to get the mirror of remote viewing, a somewhat useless item in Yggdrasil, but now it seems quite useful. There was just one problem. Naruto had no idea how to use it. The homunculus maid Increment was simply staring at Naruto from the corner of the room, and Naruto could feel his embarrassment rising. "Everyone in Nazarick thinks I'm some kind of god. Please don't watch while I'm trying to figure out this piece of shit mirror." Naruto screamed in his head. Naruto kept trying different things until finally. Oh, so it's like that, okay. Naruto spoke, finally getting the hang of it. Clap, clap, clap. "Well done, my lord, I knew you would get the hang of it in no time." The maid spoke, and while Naruto knew she was sincere, her tone almost made Naruto think otherwise. The village, oh, they are having a party. Oh, no, that's not a party, that man just got his head cut off." Once more Naruto felt himself feel a little conflicted by his own feeling. As he watched her slaughter unfold, he found the scene rather amusing. Still, there could be useful information to be had in this village. It would be a shame to let it get destroyed just like this. Increment. "My lord. Inform Albedo to meet me at the village and be ready for battle. Also, she's not to bring Jinungagup along with her." Naruto spoke. "At once, my lord." 8. The most powerful teleportation spell in all of Yggdrasil, capable of transporting entire armies if its caster had mana enough. Carn village. Armed soldiers who wore the armor of the Baharith Empire stormed through the small village, slaughtering indiscriminately. Henry Emmett was running away from her small village while holding her little sister's hand tightly. Both her father and mother were already dead, the last thing they did was to yell for her to run, and that's what she did, yet the armored knights were still following them at a fast pace. When her little sister tripped, Henry could only watch in pure horror as the men attacked her, and the only option she could think of to save her was to jump in and receive the attack herself, and she did so without any hesitation. Cold hard metal cut through her flesh, warm tears welled in the bottom of her eyes, while she let out a yelp of pain, she felt the open wound start burning and leak hot blood, while her frightened little sister buried her head into her waist. At the very least, she wanted her little sister to escape, but her mind couldn't think of anything to help her in that regard, and so she awaited the next swing, though it never came. What's that? Slowly Henry raised her head to see her pursuers staring dumbfounded at something behind her, turning her head around, she saw what she could only describe as a mix of swirling wild colors in front of her. Slowly a figure emerged out from the unknown mass of energy. Standing at a height just short of 2 meters, the first thing she noticed was the lean but powerful build and the loose clothing he wore. His face held 3 whiskers on each cheek, his long spiky red hair ran down past his shoulder, and his eyes were blood red, making Henry believe she was seeing a demon, and then her mind went blank. Naruto looked at the scene in front of him with a passive face. The soldiers stared at him with a blank expression hidden behind their armor. Naruto, noticing the lack of movement from all parties for the first time, became aware of his passive aura, though it was only meant to mind control humans and monsters that were level 40 or below. This already told him that these humans were weak. Having turned off his aura, he noticed the lights returning to their eyes. Demon. One of the armored soldiers yelled, taking a step back. Could he have sensed the difference in strength? Naruto stood in front of him unarmed, while the man who backed off held a sword, or perhaps the soldier was merely confused by the current situation, and that's why he was backing off. Slowly Naruto lifted his left hand. Chain lightning. A blue flash filled the clearing for all but a second. The first soldier didn't get to make a single sound as the lightning hit him, killing him in an instant. The lightning moved on to the next target, both soldier falling to the ground dead, like puppets whose strings had been cut. Whoa, so easily with a mere 3rd tier spell, how pathetic. Summoning. Fox Sisters. 2 large fires appeared in front of Naruto. The fires kept growing till 2 large golden foxes appeared from the flames, both sprouting 5 tails each, dwarfing Naruto with their size, both being twice as tall as Naruto. Head for the village, kill anyone who's wearing armor similar to this one, no, spare 3 of them. But don't allow them to escape. Naruto instructed as he pointed at the corpse on the ground, and with that both large golden foxes turned around and began running into the village. Both foxes were around 30 in level, but had flame spells in their arsenal that were comparable to monsters in level 40. In short, Naruto believed those 2 foxes were more than enough for a few more soldiers of the caliber he just faced. Henry, who was in severe pain, still hadn't comprehended what she had just witnessed, but she believed right now her best chance of survival would be not to get his attention. Big sis. Nemu spoke beneath her, and Henry clenched her little sister tighter. Apparently the man or whatever he was hurt her, as she noticed his crimson-slit eyes looking down upon her right now. Forgive me my lateness, my lord, the preparation took a bit of time. Albedo spoke, appearing from the gate, wearing a full set of armor. Not at all, Albedo, your timing is perfect. I plan on saving this village and have it indebted to me. Naruto spoke plainly. Albedo gave a quick nod as letting Naruto know she understood. Then what about these 2? Albedo asked. Henry had briefly gotten her hopes up a little. The man or demon was going to save the village, even if it was to make them indebted, yet under this armored woman's gaze, Henry tried making herself as small as possible. Naruto lifted his left hand and pointed it towards Henry, believing she was about to meet the same fate as the dead soldiers. She clenched her little sister tightly, tears spilling from her eyes. Heal. Henry felt herself being enveloped in a warm light. It was nothing short of bliss, and just like it washed over her, it was gone. There, that should take care of your wound. Naruto spoke, while Henry reached around to feel for the wound, but found nothing, not even a scratch. It's gone, thank you so much. Henry spoke while doing her best to bow respectfully, while her little sister still had a strong grip on her. For the first time the girl turned to allow Naruto a better look at her appearance, blonde hair tied into a braid, tanned skin from working regularly in the sun, a good physique and a nice pair of breasts. Naruto's vision remained on her bust for a few seconds, though no one seemed to notice. I wonder what kind of expression she would make if I ripped her clothes off and raped her right here, though the young one might be annoying, maybe I should just kill the little one now. Naruto blinked once, then once more, again with those dark thoughts. They had become more regular. Could this be linked to his karma rating being a -500? Naruto's avatar was set to be as evil could be. Could that be what's affecting his thoughts? The 2 of you should stay here until I clear the village out. Barrier. This should be enough. I will also let you have these. If needed, you can use it to summon an army of goblins. Naruto spoke as he threw 2 small horns at the girl's feet. My lord, to grant an item to a lowly human. Albedo spoke, clearly finding the idea of spending Nazarick's treasure on lower life forms. It's fine Albedo, don't doubt me. Naruto simply responded and got a quick bow from the Guardian Overseer. Honestly, those horns were the consolation prize in one of the gacha machines in Yggdrasil. With how much money all of the guild used on those gacha machines, hoping to hit that 0.03% jackpot, he assumed there to be at least another 1,000 of those horns in the treasury. It was a little more than trash in Naruto's eyes. But that Naruto and Albedo began heading into the village. Please tell me your name. Enri yelled as she couldn't just allow her saviors to leave without learning it. Naruto turned his head and without hesitation. It's Naruto. Meanwhile in Carn village center. No. Aughh. A soldier yelled as one of the large golden foxes swung its paw at him, its large claws cutting through his metal armor like butter. It was nothing but a one-sided massacre. No one had any idea where these foxes had come from as they had suddenly run into the city and had begun viciously attacking the soldiers. Crushing them beneath their weight, ripping them apart with their claws or even biting off their limbs. Perhaps the worst part was that it seemed like the foxes were simply playing with them. Clearly, they weren't hungry, for whenever they would take a bit out of them, they would spit it back out again. The soldiers were nothing but toys to torture for the foxes, their swords couldn't even penetrate their golden fur. This can't be, I'm not supposed to die in some shithole village like this. One of the distraught soldiers begun an outburst. My family is nobility, if you protect me, I can pay you all I can, aie. The man screeched when two golden tails had wrapped around both his legs, the man quickly finding himself being turned upside down. No please, protect me, I will pay you 300, number 500 gold pieces each. Ighh. The man began screaming in pure agony as the tail around each legs began pulling him apart, his lower body half splitting open with a sickening quench, blood and organs began spilling, while the soldiers release a blood-curdling scream. When the fox was done, the man had been split into two perfect halves. As if bored, the fox decided to throw both halves of the man at her sister fox in a teasing playfully manner. The other fox got annoyed at its sister's action, decided to tackle her to the ground, the two foxes beginning a playful scuffle, reminding the few frightened soldiers once more that they were nothing but playthings for them. Clap clap. The sound of two large hand claps filled the village and everyone turned their attention towards the kitsune and the black armored knight beside him. That's enough girls. Naruto called out in a sweet tone, both foxes quickly disengaging from their playful scuffle and ran over to Naruto. Slowly the two foxes were bathed in a golden light, slowly transforming, and in their stead stood two young girls with matching appearances, both wearing a simple red yukata. Their hair was bob cut and golden, and from their lower backs sprouted 5 small golden foxtails. Their faces were both concealed with a fox mask. Now in front of Naruto, both girls began jumping up and down excitedly. Yes, you both did a good job," Naruto said, patting both of them. Albedo made surprised envy a sound. "For now, you can both return," Naruto spoke, pulling both his hands away from the small girl's head, and just like that they seemingly disappeared into the wind. "Now then soldiers, please return to your masters and inform them of what has happened here today. Oh, and please tell them, if they ever try something like this in this village again, I will slaughter your entire kingdom. Leave." The soldiers were at a lack for word. They didn't know what shocked them the most, the fact that those powerful foxes had transformed into small girls asking for head pats, or the fact this new demi-human in front of them had just promised slaughter to their kingdom with such a gentle and sweet voice that it could almost be mistaken for honey. Still, the bits of their brain that was working had them turn around and run as fast as they could. Should I have given them my name? Naruto meekly wondered as he watched the tin cans run away as fast as they could. Turning his attention back to the villagers, Naruto began approaching only for the people gathered to begin pulling away. I just saved them. Are they too stupid to realize when they are being saved? Naruto thought. Fear not, I've come to save you. You're why have you helped us? It was a middle-aged man who spoke up. The way the villagers had gathered around him made Naruto think this man must be in charge of the village. I was nearby when the village was attacked. Well, I'm happy to help. Perhaps the village would be willing to compensate me for my troubles. I'm especially looking for information. Naruto answered honestly. He could understand if the villagers would be a bit untrustworthy of a man saving them without anything to gain. Clearly this world wasn't filled with virtuous heroes like Touch Me. Looks of relief began washing across the villagers' faces. Then, stranger, may I please ask for your name? The mayor asked, slowly getting up to his feet. It's Naruto. Then Naruto, would you? Lord Naruto. Albedo quickly interjected, her grip around her massive axe tightened. Naruto merely held up a single hand to let Albedo know not to proceed, though a look of surprise and fright did fill the mayor's face. Of course, it was only natural for such a powerful man to be either nobility or maybe even royalty. Forgive me, Lord Naruto, I should have known, could you please accompany me to my house, there I will do my best to answer all questions you might have. The mayor spoke. Naruto gave a small nod and began following after the mayor, another middle-aged woman followed too, Naruto assumed she was the mayor's wife. They arrived at a small hovel, clearly even the leader of the village wasn't rich. Albedo, patrol the village, if you spot any more knight in armor inform me. Naruto spoke before he entered the small home. It will be done, my lord. Entering, Naruto took seat at the small table, giving the inside of the hovel a quick look. Naruto could quickly conclude that there wasn't much of any technology in this world, by all standards this was a simple farming village. Lord Naruto, please once more allow us to thank you once again. The chief spoke as he and his wife gave a small bow. It's fine, I didn't do it for free. I understand, but still if it hadn't been for you, we would all have been dead now. The chief spoke. Understood, but I shouldn't take up too much of your time, I'm sure you must have many things to attend to in the light of this attack, so let's go straight to negotiations. To begin with, just how much can your village pay me? Naruto wasn't interested in the money itself, but rather what kind of currency they used, was it the same as Yggdrasil or something completely new? I'm uncertain how much copper and silver pieces we can scrap together, but I believe we would be able to gather something between 2,500 and 3,000 copper pieces. How am I supposed to know if that's a lot? There wasn't anything like copper coins in Yggdrasil, there were just gold coins. No, he shouldn't get annoyed by something like this, if anything he was fortunate that the chief didn't offer him 4 sheep and a horse. I'm sorry if that isn't nowhere enough. The chief stammered out. Naruto realized his lack of an answer must have been seen as disappointment. Don't worry, it's fine. It's just that's a lot of coins, would it be possible for something of a higher value coin? Naruto requested. I'm terribly sorry, but we don't have any gold coins in our village. Alright, so there's copper, silver and gold, maybe the gold is the same as the one in Yggdrasil. Naruto reached down into his pocket and opened his inventory and withdrew a gold coin. I see, in that case I have another proposition for you, I would be willing to buy food off of the village at a fair market price of course, could you tell me what I would be able to buy with this? Naruto said as he placed the gold coin in front of the chief and his wife, both their widening slightly in shock at the sight. This is unlike any gold coin I've ever seen. The chief spoke. The engraving is truly like a work of art. His wife agreed as she inspected the coin. One moment, Lord Naruto. The chief quickly excused himself, hurrying off into another room, the man quickly returned with a balance scale. Measuring on the scale, it quickly became obviously that the Yggdrasil coin was twice as heavy as the gold coins from this world. Perhaps, if we could scratch the surface. The chief's wife spoke, only to get a small jab in the side by the chief. Don't be rude. Sorry, Lord Naruto, we've never quite seen anything like this. The chief spoke, handing the coin back to Naruto. So, if I had the surface scratched, then this coin should have the values of 2 gold coins, right? I believe so, though I'm no merchant, so I can't say for certain. I see, well I do have a few more coins like this, could you tell me what I would be able to buy from this village, for let's say 10 of these coins? Naruto offered, though Naruto quickly got a little confused when he saw the village chief start sweating. Forgive me, Lord Naruto, I now realize that 3,000 copper pieces might sound too cheap for someone of your status, we may be able to gather more and create more acceptable payment, but we've lost a lot of manpower in this attack. I hate to do this, but could it be possible for us to pay you in installments? The chief asked, and Naruto realized that his previous offer must have sounded like Naruto was flaunting his wealth. It's fine, to be honest, I'm not interested in money, you can keep it all. Naruto said with a slight wave of his hand. A swirl of emotion went through the chief and his wife's face. In return, I would much prefer some information around the surrounding land. I would also much prefer that you both don't inform anyone about the contents of our conversation today. Naruto spoke. The man and wife exchanged a quick look between each other. We would never dare to go behind the back of our savior, our lips are sealed. What kind of information is it that you seek? You wouldn't happen to have a map of the area or perhaps even a world map? Of course, just a moment. The chief spoke, quickly disappearing back into the room where he got the scale from, while quickly returning with a large map, placing it on the table. He folded it out to fill most of the table. The fuck am I looking at? Naruto recognized nothing. Thankfully the village chief did a good job at explaining their location, along with the nearby kingdoms. From that Naruto was also able to pinpoint Nazarick's location on the map. I see, and for how long would it take to travel to E-Rantel from here? Naruto asked as he was slowly getting the hang of this strange new world. If you're on foot it will take around 2 days, but on a horse, I believe you could make the trip in about 6 to 8 hours. The chief spoke honestly. I see, you have my thanks, this conversation has been most beneficial for me. Not at all, Lord Naruto, it's been my utmost pleasure to help you with your forgiveness. May I be allowed one question? Sure, I don't mind. What exactly are you? some kind of beastkin or demi-human. Maybe I should have covered up to look like a human before I entered the village, I can't really fault their curiosity. Naruto was playing as a kitsune, which was a yokai subclass, which in turn was a demon subclass. Yggdrasil did have over 500 playable races, despite being one of the best races in the game, with a great variety of race jobs and class jobs. It was quite rare to see another kitsune player, which was most likely linked to the fact that the kitsune option was locked behind a paywall. Naruto did spend what could be considered absurd amount of money on Yggdrasil to the point the other guild members suspected him of being a son of some rich guy. Snapping back to reality in front of him, Naruto believed it would be too annoying to explain exactly what he was. Yes, I'm a demi-human, my exact race is called Kitsune. Seeing the chief face, Naruto knew the man had never heard of such a race before, but accepted the answer nonetheless. Town square. Naruto stood with Albedo by his side while they watched the town people bury the dead. Despite their crying and sorrow, Naruto felt not a shred of empathy. Bringing back the dead would be child's play, but the villagers were already indebted to him and he couldn't see any benefit in resurrecting the dead. Despite the sight of the bodies being moved around and put in the ground, while families stood around and mourned, what interested Naruto most was Albedo's perfume. Standing next to him, Naruto could feel the floral scent enter his nostrils. Could she be this close to him because she wanted him to smell it? Clearing his head, Naruto began wondering how he should infiltrate E-Rantel. He did briefly consider moving his focus to the Bahareth Empire or the Southern Theocracy, but has decided to focus his attentions on the kingdom, whose borders Nazarick had appeared within. Though he doubts he could waltz in there looking like this, the villagers were still giving him weird looks, and apparently a city like E-Rantel killed off anyone who wasn't human. Alpha a dwarf, when you approached their gates, seemed kinda racist though. The sun was beginning to set in the distance, and the horizon was slowly turning orange. I've spent much more time than I planned, but I dare say today's has been a great success. Looks like everything I set out to do has been accomplished. Naruto spoke to Albedo. Then shall we begin moving back to Nazarick? Naruto was about to answer when a frightened villager came running through the square and up to the village chief. Naruto could see from his expression that something was wrong. Problems just keep piling up. Approaching group once more. Is something wrong? Oh Lord Naruto, yes, truth be told, another group of armored warriors have been seen riding for our village at a great speed. Naruto could see how all the gathered villagers were staring at him, anxious to hear his response. Don't worry, I will take care of it. I will greet them along with you, though I do suggest for the other villagers to take shelter in their homes. Looks of relief washed across their faces once more. Thank you, Lord Naruto. All the villager began running back to their houses. Naruto and Albedo stayed with the village chief, witnessing the soldiers quickly approaching in the distance. They were dressed quite differently from the last attackers, another unit perhaps, or serving another nation. Seeing the chief giving him sideways glances, Naruto decided to elevate the man of his worries. Don't worry, I'm doing this free of charge. He could see the village chief tightened his knuckles and form a small bitter smile, clearly a bit ashamed of how much they were asking of Naruto. The riders begun filling up the square in front of them, with Naruto getting the majority of their looks. Truly his 9 red swinging tails did wonders in attracting attention. I'm Gazef Stronoff, the warrior captain of the Riesti's kingdom. I've been sent here to hunt down soldiers who's been burning nearby villages. The man introduced himself formally while observing the 3 people in front of him. I'm the chief of this village. I thank you, warrior captain, but this gentleman has already taken care of those attacking soldiers. The village chief spoke, referring to Naruto. The statement caused quite a bit of stir, as Naruto could hear several of the soldiers start talking back and forth, while Gazef quickly dismounted from horse. If that is true, then you have my deepest thanks, though I do wonder what are demi-human like you doing at a village like this. Gazef spoke earnestly. The man had protected the village, and for that Gazef didn't care if the person was human or not. All he saw was someone saving innocent lives. No need for thanks, I did make a small profit saving the village. Oh, but I'm forgetting to introduce myself. My name is Naruto, a simple magic caster. The one in the armor is my companion. She isn't much of a talker, so I will speak on her behalf. Naruto spoke with his gentle tone. There was a bit of silence, and Naruto wondered if he had said something wrong. Had they seen a hole in his story? Please Naruto Dono, forgive me and my men, it's just quite rare to meet a demi-human in our country, and much less one as intelligent as yourself. Though I have heard of places far east where demi-humans have created kingdoms of their own, I have you will forgive my rudeness. No offense taken. Naruto simply waved his worry aside. Captain Gazef. Their attention instantly turned to the new man who quickly came galloping into the village. We've been surrounded. What? A look of shock spread across Gazef's face. Surrounded by who? The leader of the village asked. Naruto remained still with a stoic face. Well, if an enemy is closing in, then I suggest we move further into the village. It's possible to hide the gorses behind the rubble from the houses that fell under the last attack," Naruto suggested. Agreeing to the proposal, the men quickly moved further into the village, while Naruto along with the village chief, Albedo and Gazef, moved into a small nearby house where they could see what sort of enemy was approaching them. It took a few minutes. While waiting for the approaching enemies, Naruto was able to learn more about the captain warrior. Apparently he had won a martial arts tournament in the kingdom's capital and was serving as a direct aide to King Ramposa III. "There they are." Gazef spoke slowly, peeking out the window. Naruto took a few steps close to another window and peeked out and managed to see something that intrigued him quite a bit. "Are those archangel flames? What are monsters from Yggdrasil doing here? Only a nation like the slain theocracy can possibly afford to send out this many magic casters. I did think it odd that people from the empire would attack our villages." Gazef realized that this must be one of the slain theocracy's famed scriptures, and for their magic caster to be able to summon angels meant that each caster was at least able to cast third-tier holy magic for the theocracy to send out their elite soldier to this small village. They wouldn't happen to be hunting you, Naruto don't know. It was a valid question. The theocracy did attempt to kill every non-human they could on sight. I'd be surprised if they were. I've never seen any of them before. And seeing as how there's nothing in the village of value can only mean. It seems like someone must hate you quite a bit, warrior captain, Naruto replied. Both of them realizing what their true aim was, though in Gazef's case it had been obvious for quite some time. He was only given 30 men for the job. He wasn't allowed to bring the holy sword of the kingdom. By all means it felt like he was sent off to die. "Indeed, I hate to ask this of you, but would it be possible to buy your services? Just name your price." Naruto thought it over for a few seconds. "Sorry Gazef don't know, but I must politely refuse your offer. I see, and what if decided to use my authority as warrior captain to conscript you into this fight?" Naruto's didn't give an immediate answer, but Gazef could feel the annoyance radiate off the Demehuman. "I would highly advise against that, Gazef Dono. If you were to try and force me comply, I would have no other option but to offer a bit of resistance." It was both a warning and a threat. Truly a frightening thought. We would be dead before even getting the chance to cross blades with the men of the theocracy. Gazef had no real measure for Naruto's strength yet, but for him and the black-clad warrior to single-handedly take down over 20 soldiers and still look unaffected by the approaching forces, Gazef didn't doubt that Naruto was a truly powerful individual. "I believe you think too highly of me, but at the very least I can offer you this," Naruto replied while fishing a small wooden statue out of his inventory. Gazef accepted with a look of confusion on his face. "It's a good luck charm of sorts. I believe it might become useful in your coming fight," Naruto explained. "I see, thank you Naruto Dono. I hate to ask you, but would you please keep protecting this village?" "Of course, I have already saved it once, it would be a waste to let them be slaughtered now," Naruto replied. The village chief and Gazef didn't completely agree with the way he stated it, but accepted his answer nonetheless. "Thank you Naruto Dono, I'm in your debt." Gazef spoke before he began leaving the small house. Gathering his men, Naruto and Albedo watched them rode off, while the magic casters surrounding the village quickly followed suit. Moving out of range for anyone to eavesdrop, Albedo asked the question that was on her mind. "Are you planning to save that man too?" "I am. The man was an aide to the king. He will surely spread my name to the court. Through that we may even have the king in our debt. Spreading his name or the name of Nazarick to all corners of the world would be a good way to see if there were any other players in this weird world." Albedo was in awe. Of course every move Naruto-sama made was a part of a great plan, truly an awe-inspiring wisdom. "By the way Albedo, what do you think of humans?" "Pathetic, worthless creatures. The only good thing about them is how pretty they are when splattered on the ground." She spoke vermin in her voice. "That's kinda hot." "Well, you're not wrong. I won't ask you to show them any kindness, but at the very least, don't show any hostility either, without my say-so." "Understood my lord." All that was left now was waiting. The soldiers could die no problem. Gazef would most likely last longer than any of his men either way, if he was as skilled as he was told. The item he had given Gazef did well in informing Naruto of his current status. Meanwhile, martial arts. Sixfold slash of light. Gazef slashed through a total of 4 angels as he ran through the battlefield. It was one large open skirmish. Gazef could do nothing but watch as his men was getting slaughtered by the summoned angels. Nigan. With a great yell, Gazef charged once more, only to see more angels descend upon him to block his path. "What a pointless effort, Gazef Stronoff. After we kill you, we will move on and finish massacring those villagers you tried to protect." Nigan spoke with a small wicked smile, while an angel ran its blade through Gazef's body, forcing him to the ground. Cuckoo. Nigan's left eye twitched as he heard the downed Gazef begin chuckling. "Pray tell, what do you find so amusing about a situation like this?" There's a man in that village, much stronger than myself, try anything, and it will be a massacre. Gazef said, his eyes still shining with defiance. Nigan's smile didn't drop. All around the battlefield the last of Gazef's soldiers were being killed off. Your bluff has no effect. Angels finished this pathetic man off. And then Gazef was gone, before the angels had a chance to kill him, and, in his stead, stood two new people, one clad in black armor and a demi-human. What happened? Where's Gazef? Nigan let out an angry yell at having lost their target. Naruto looked over the battlefield quickly. The strong winds blew away the smell of blood, and the setting sun made it hard to see the dried blood on the grass. Greetings, gentlemen of the slain theocracy. My name is Naruto, I'm here to murder you all. Naruto could see that he had managed to get the attention of every magic caster present. Murder us, you say? You're nothing but a disgusting unclean demi-human, know your place, trash. Nigan responded while looking at Naruto in disgust. Naruto placed a hand on Albedo's shoulder before she even had the possibility to fly into a rage. I got this, Albedo, don't worry, they will pay for their insult. I would like to offer you all a deal, hand over your lives without resistance, and I promise you a merciful death. Naruto took a single step forward. When he had made his offer, the people of slain theocracy exchanged a few looks among each other. Was this demi-human an idiot or truly just that arrogant? Vermin angels, kill him. Two angels quickly flew forward and approached Naruto at great speed, but were stopped only 3 meters before Naruto. Two of his tails had grown in size and length and had effortlessly captured both the low-tier angels, crushing them both in an instant. Well, seeing as how the deal is now off the table, how about a new one? The first one who would be so kind as to tell me where you have learned about this magic from will receive a merciful death, while the rest of your friends will suffer. Naruto's tone remained calm and sweet even now. Don't get too cocky, all angels attack. Pathetic. Naruto waited calmly as the angels came towards him. Blazing inferno. The angels instantly lit on fire and began falling to the ground, within seconds disappearing. Impossible. Nigan muttered, watching all the angels being defeated in a second. What was this demi-human, some creature from the Abelian Hills? No, there shouldn't be any demi-humans that powerful there. Could he be royalty from the Karsana's city-state alliance? Even so. There's a man in that village, much stronger than myself, try anything, and it will be a massacre. Gazef's words came back to haunt him. Is something the matter? You seem to space out. Naruto mocked with a small smile, seeing Nigan's small panicked look. Kill him. Nigan yelled out, and all the caster raised their arms pointing towards Naruto. Blindness, fireball, thorns, holy ray, open wounds, shock, fear, magic arrow, hold, poison. None of the spells had any effect on Naruto, all of them being too weak to penetrate his magic defenses. I must say, you know surprisingly more spells from Yggdrasil than I had anticipated. Tell me who had taught you that magic. Naruto's tone rose slightly, while one of the caster noticed how inefficient their magic was, instead tried to fire a pebble with a slingshot. Nigan saw the soldier aim the slingshot. Well, he doubted an attack like that would have any better effect than the magic. He did nothing to stop the man. However, nobody could have foreseen the result, as in an instant, the man's head was shattered, his brain, teeth and eyes flying out, hitting the other nearby scripture members. Ah, he's dead. One of the men beside him yelled out. Nigan was staring at the headless corpse in shock. How? They were the ones attacking, so why did one of them fall? Albedo, you should have known that kind of attack would have no effect. Please my lord, there should be a bare minimum to fighting you, to sink as low as throwing pebbles at you. I simply can't stand such a blatant show of disrespect. Ahaha, is that so? Thank you, Albedo. Naruto would lie if he said he didn't find Albedo's overprotectiveness quite cute. Nigan clenched his fists, anger swelled as he heard the lowly demi-human and the knight clad in black armor, ignoring and disrespecting them. We're humans, we're the chosen race by God. Principality observation. Attack the freak. My lord, may I have this one? Albedo asked. No, I got this. Naruto insisted. Moving in close, the larger angel rose its large mace up high into the air and brought it down with a terrifying force. Thud. A small blast could be heard as Naruto effortlessly grabbed the mace with one hand. In that, Naruto pulled the mace out of the angel's hands and killed it with a quick swing of its own weapon. Stunned silence. The weapon was a part of the monster because Naruto watched as the large mace disappeared out of his hands after he had murdered the angel. Now then, do you anything else you like to try, or are you all ready to forfeit your lives? Lord Nigan. The soldiers all flocked to their leader with a look of desperation hidden beneath their masks. One hit? That's impossible. Nigan spoke, his face beginning to lose its color. This couldn't be real, it had to be some kind of freakish nightmare, for a principality observation was an Enel that boasted a higher defense than other angels, only a set of few selected people could hope to defeat it. Negan knew there were members of the Black Scripture that had the power to defeat it, but to his knowledge, none of them should be able to do it in one hit. What the hell were they currently fighting? Looking towards the demi-human, he saw its crimson eyes staring back at him with amusement. Aie. He let out a screech. No wait, he still possessed that thing. Don't worry man, we're going to summon the ultimate angel to wipe out this pest. Naruto's eyes widened slightly when he saw what Negan pulled out. A sealing crystal, so there's even items from Yggdrasil in this world too. Could there even be world items as well? If so, that would prove problematic. Forth. Dominion authority. Naruto blinked a few times as he watched a large angel appear in the sky above. I acknowledge your strength, demi-human, you will make for a fine sacrifice to an angel of the highest order. Negan yelled, but all his bravado faded away when he saw Naruto's uninterested look. Is that it? The simple question sent looks of shock and despair throughout the scripture. They were supposed to be elite soldiers, but they had been reduced to a quivering mess. If this didn't work. You're bluffing. Use it, use Holy Smite. Don't worry, I'm not going to move, take your time and charge up. Naruto taunted. Then it happened, a bright piercing light came falling from the sky and hit Naruto straight on. The sacred light was sure to purify and destroy an evil being it hit, surely this would be enough kill him. Great suspense and hope filled the heart of the scripture's members, only for their hopes to be utterly destroyed. As the light began to die down, Naruto could be seen standing still completely unfazed. His left hand was moved up to his right shoulder. You're dirtying my clothes. Naruto spoke, brushing his shoulder. But how? What are you? Negan yelled, only beings like gods or dragon lords should have been able to withstand something of that power. Well, though I am part of a demon class, I'm not weak to holy attacks. If they wanted any hope or damaging me, frost or water type spells would yield a better result. The kid soon being classified as a fire demon in Yggdrasil. Again, do it again. Use Holy Smite again. Negan's brain had begun shutting down, it was the most powerful attack at his disposal, what else could he do but to yell at it to use its attack again? He had no other ideas. Hold on, it's my turn now. Naruto spoke, while he spread his arms. The scripture had hurtled in close to their leader and was watching Naruto in pure fear, their tactic reminding Naruto of a school of fish, moving in close together in hopes the one next to them would die instead of themselves. Forth. Ancient odd-eyed giant cobra. The members of the Sunlight Scripture blinked once, having never heard of that summon before, but their confusion only lasted a second before the ground began violently shaking beneath them. The ground behind Naruto exploded open as a giant snake monster emerged from the ground, its insane size, leaving the members of the Sunlight Scripture gaping, and it seemingly had no intention of stopping, as it kept on stretching towards the sky. Maybe this is overkill. Naruto thought, as a max-ranked beast tamer, Naruto had the ability to control a total of 5 divine class monster, but through the use of cash shop items, Naruto had increased that number to 10, each with stats and levels comparable to a floor guardian, though they all lacked the intelligence to communicate. In that regard, all of his summons was like Gargantua. Uncapable of own thought. Like its name suggested, the ancient odd-eyed giant cobra was exactly that, a large snake with mixed eye colors, one burning a dark green, while the other eye was a copy of Naruto's. Finally finishing its ascent from the ground, its long body began stretching through the open plains, going far into its distance. It was truly a divine class beast. A single fang in its wide open mouth was as large as the angel Dominion authority, and for a person, it truly gave them the perspective ants had when looking up upon a human. I wonder if the people at Carn can see this. Naruto briefly wondered, then again, the sun had gone down and it's getting dark, so maybe not. Attack. Naruto gave a simple command, the cobra launched at them, opening its wide maw. Not even the gods, Negan stated. Some of the members had already passed out, others were crying or going insane. The snake slammed its head down upon them all, the entire scripture and angel, devouring them in an instant, while it began burrowing down into the ground where it had just emerged from. This is really going to mess up the local landscape. Naruto realized as new large tunnels had been formed all around, and somewhere the ground was starting to collapse in on itself. With a clap of his hand, Naruto returned the beast back to his inventory. Maybe I should have taken some of them captive for information, meh. You think that was too much? Naruto couldn't help but ask Albedo as they turned around and began heading away from the scene. Not at all, my lord, their pure despair and fright you installed in those lowly humans was truly exquisite. Although, I don't believe you needed to take care of these matter by yourself, my lord. Naruto felt a cold breeze blow through his red hair and hit his open chest. You think so? Well, I dare say I've learned a lot by taking care of things today, especially in regard to the strength of humans in this new world. Albedo, today's been a great success, remove your helmet. Albedo was a bit surprised by the sudden command, but quickly did so. My lord. She spoke awaiting his next order, only for her eyes to widen in surprise when she felt Naruto's hand on top of her head. "Thank you for protecting me today, you've done a great job." He spoke patting her. "Ah, Naruto-sama." Her face quickly heating up. "Will you be having me right here?" "And that's enough of that," Naruto said, removing his hand. "Oh. For now, let's return to Nazarick. Gate. Naruto could feel his left eye twitch as he was staring at the monuments of food that was laid across the long table, enough to feed around 20 people, Naruto realized. "And you're saying all of this is for me?" Naruto was looking towards Pistania and the 5 maids behind her that had moved trolleys filled with food into his office and had decorated the table. "That's correct, woof. Albedo-sama told us of your hard work in battle today, we and the head chef all believed at least this much was necessary." Naruto looked at the maids, then to the mountains of food, and then back to the maids again. "While I do appreciate the gesture, there's no way I can possibly eat all of this by myself, in the future please keep it more modest." He felt like he was looking at weird food waste crime. "Understood, woof. Then we shall return in an hour to clean up, woof." Pistania and the maids left, leaving Naruto all alone on the large office. Moving over, Naruto took a seat on one of the chairs, throwing his head back, he observed the large chandelier above. "Where do I even start?" Naruto muttered to himself. If anything, he was quite excited to have a proper dinner again, his old body no longer required food, so this was actually quite exciting for Naruto. Slowly Naruto began partaking of the large feast in front of him, while filling a small cup with some sake, slowly raising it to his mouth. Naruto for the first time in hundreds of years began eating. "What's this? It's fucking delicious." Naruto looked at the food once more, surely food wasn't always this good, this had to be special in some kind of way. Naruto quickly began eating even more. Still, this was rather lonely. 2 powerful knocks on the door instantly caught Naruto's attention, using a quick handkerchief to wipe the edges around his mouth to make sure he looked as presentable as possible. "Enter." Albedo quickly slipped into his office. "Ah, Naruto-sama, my love. I've bought you Aura's report, her beasts have scoured through the forest near the village you saved. We've confirmed the existence of several small goblin, ogres and troll tribes located within, along groups of lizardmen living on the other side of the forest." While some of the races were familiar, some were also new to Naruto. Moving up towards his work desk, Albedo quickly moved to his side. "Good, well I would like to know more about the geographical landscape as soon as possible. It may be dangerous to overplay our hand, none of Aura's beasts were discovered during their reconnaissance." "No, none of their movement was discovered by the inhabitants of the forest," Albedo confirmed. "Though, I am curious, what do you plan on doing with the village you saved?" "The villagers are indebted to me, for now we're keeping them alive." "Understood, my lord." The way she was smiling at him made Naruto wonder if he had something on his face, but her beautiful smile was quickly ruined by 2 new knocks on the door once more. Albedo's brow furrowed as she threw the door an annoyed look. "Who would possibly come to disturb you at such a time? Everyone should be aware that you're having dinner right now and must not be disturbed." "Then what are you doing here?" Naruto thought with a small sweat drop. Albedo was marching towards the door with a great pace, ready to scold anyone for disturbing her alone time with Naruto. Just as she was about to reach the door, it flew open with great force, hitting Albedo straight in the face. "Ah, Naruto-sama, my true and only love." Shalltear spoke, quickly skipping past Albedo who was seething with rage. "Greetings, Shalltear, what brings you to my office?" "Why, I've come to lay my eyes upon your exquisite form, just laying my eyes upon you bring me the greatest of joy." "Oh, if you want to see my exquisite form, should I begin undressing?" "Would you?" Albedo and Shalltear both yelled out, Albedo's earlier rage from getting smacked in the face with the door gone in an instant. No, that was a jest, calm down." Naruto watched as both their flushed faces went from aroused to disappointed and then back to normal. "Well then, perhaps if that's all, Shalltear, you should leave, me and Naruto-sama was busy discussing our next move." Naruto couldn't see Albedo's face as she quickly came up to stand beside him, though it sounded like she was smirking. Old ladies are truly such a sad thing, clinging to whoever they can because they passed their prime. "Oh, and are you supposed to be young and ripped for picking? I sure, what you are displaying is surely impressive, but I think we all know the truth about those 2 friends of yours." Albedo mocking Shalltear's stuffed bra. "Old hag, I'll rip your gorilla tits off." "Too bad, you can't reattach them to yourself." Naruto threw a small look at the table, his food getting cold. "Are you two quite done?" His question seemingly flipping a switch in both of them. "Yes, sorry Lord Naruto." Once more both spoke in perfect unison, their angry expressions reverting to their normal beautiful smiles, both girls carried. Naruto couldn't help but find the way they fought over his attention rather adorable. "What business brings you to my room, Shalltear?" I've made my preparation for my mission with Sebas and Solution. From my understanding I may be off for quite a while, and I just needed one more look at you before I left. Shalltear explained, her cheeks flushing pink as she admitted her reasoning for her visit. Naruto made a small motion with his right hand, telling Shalltear to come closer, the beautiful pale vampire quickly approaching, till she was by his side. I've confirmed that the average human in this world is pathetically weak, but there may still be individual who can surprise us or other powerful races. I want you to keep in mind that your safety is paramount and takes priority over the mission. I would also like you to forward this message to both Sebas and Solution too. Shalltear's smile widened to the point she was grinning, her cheeks growing redder. Of course, my lord, no matter what happens I shall dedicate my entire being to return to your side as quickly as possible. That's good. Naruto spoke while leaning towards Shalltear. The vampire girl looked confused while Naruto leaned in closer towards her. My lord. Confusion was replaced by shock when Naruto's face got in close to Shalltear's and she felt the soft sensation of Naruto's lips on her right cheek. It was nothing more than a little peck. Albedo made a small and wicked sound behind Naruto. For good luck, do your best. Naruto spoke while pulling away. Shalltear trembled for a moment and if Naruto could see behind him, he would see Albedo do the same. Oh, my lord. I swear I won't be long. Naruto was taken a bit by surprise by the sheer amount of arousal in Shalltear's voice as she spoke. As she left his office, it almost looked like she was skipping out. Excusing herself, she closed the door and ha ha ha, Naruto-sama kissed me. I've won you, foul-mouthed gorilla. Despite having left the office, her screams outside were still very much within earshot. A small sweat drop formed behind Naruto's head while Albedo kept trembling next to him. You want a kiss too? Yes, please. Albedo quickly moved towards him while perking her lips. Despite her obvious attempt to catch his lips with her own, she also only got a peck on the cheek, though from her giggling that followed Naruto was quite certain she wasn't too disappointed. Incidentally, Albedo, I wanted to ask you of your opinion. Albedo managed to quickly snap out of her happy exterior when she heard Naruto needed her aid. My lord. I've decided to bring one of the Pleiades with me to E-Rantel tomorrow. I had originally wanted to bring Solution, but I also believed she was best suited for the mission with Sebas. Which of the Pleiades do you believe are best suited to infiltrate a human city? Albedo put one hand to her chin. While she had originally objected to the idea of Naruto visiting the human city, especially without her there, his will had been absolute, and bringing one of the Pleiades with him wasn't too bad a choice for bodyguard. While Yuri Alpha and Lupus Regina Beta aren't bad choices, I believe Narbril Gamma would be best suited for infiltrating a human society. I'm happy that we've come to the same conclusion. While Lupus Regina might be able to do a good job, Naruto was a bit afraid of her careless and cheery personality, and when it came to Yuri, Naruto was still a bit on guard due to his theory on karma ratings influencing his thoughts. If he brought someone like Yuri who had a positive karma rating, that may cause conflict on too many subjects. On the other hand, Narbril was a doppelganger, able to change her form easily. She was calm and collected, and her karma rating was almost identical to Naruto's. It's only natural that two people destined to be together would think alike, but I also believe it would be advantageous to bring Negrito along with you as well. Albedo suggested. Naruto thought the idea over for a few seconds, a bit of guilt entering his heart. He had messed with one sentence of Albedo's character description, but had messed a lot more with Negrito's on the final night of Yggdrasil. Her character had tragic backstory, and since the game was ending, Naruto decided to fix that. Sure, Naruto saw it as an improvement. He had fixed her skin condition and her obsession with babies, but then again if Tabula had messed with his own NPCs, he would be pretty pissed too. When he was done, Negrito looked almost exactly like Albedo, only without the horns and wings. No, Negrito will remain at the frozen prison. Despite what the name suggested, Negrito was instead the area guardian of the place. Albedo accepted his answer with a small nod. Then may I ask, are you sure about giving Sebas all those items from the treasury? Albedo voiced a different objection. It's fine, most of it was useless low-tier gear. Simply put, they didn't have any money. If they were to use the gold in the treasury, it would cause mass confusion as to where gold like that was from, so Naruto had given Sebas some low-level gear, based around the strength of the humans he killed. Gear enchanted with second and third tier magic shouldn't be too uncommon. Sebas and Solution's mission was to act like nobility from the Bahareth Empire while living in the capital of the Rieztai's kingdom. Therefore the first part of their mission would be to travel to an imperial city and sell those items from the treasury to gain quick funds for their mission. If the empire had another current, then that was only better for their disguises. Of course, my lord. Having finished up the last of her business, Albedo left once more, leaving Naruto all alone again. A small smile spread on Naruto's face. Now he could finally finish his food. He was just about to stand from his chair when his door opened once more and Pistania entered along with 5 more maids. "Alright girls, begin clearing out, woof." Eh? Next day. E-Rantel. Naruto had dressed up like his old form, spiky blonde hair and clear blue eyes, while wearing a simple armor. The color of the armor was mostly yellow, which some might confuse with gold, while a few black lines traveled down along its side. On his right hip were 2 katanas. Naruto was truly living up to the words Golden Warrior. It may be a bit ironic, Naruto's game avatar had been based on what he believed Kurama would have looked like as a human, while his avatar kept the name Naruto, but now he was dressed up as his old world self and was calling himself Kurama. Following closely behind him was Narble Gamma, or just Nabe now, as she was in her disguise as an adventurer. Despite being in a disguise, her overall beautiful looks didn't change. All she needed was a wardrobe change to be able to blend in. They were currently walking towards the large gates to the city. Naruto had serious medieval vibes as he watched the large stone walls and metal gate, a few guards stationed near the gate. Approaching the gate, the 3 guards that were currently on duty stepped forward. "Hold it, names and reason for visit." The guards were visibly on edge, maybe it was because of Naruto's armor and height. "I'm Kurama and this here is Nabe, we're travelers who wishes to sign up with the city's adventurers guild." Travelers where from? Naruto wasn't sure if they were suspicious of him or if these were just a normal pair of questions. "We were both born in southern part of the slain theocracy and lived there most our lives." The map Naruto got back in Carn village was quite limited. It only showed the regions of the Re-Estais kingdom, the Baharith Empire, and the slain theocracy. Since Naruto knew the kingdom and the empire was on bad terms, the wisest choice would be to pass himself off as a citizen from the theocracy. The guards gave each other a few quick looks. "Very well, but since you're new I need you to pay the entry fee, it's 2 silver coins." Naruto's face didn't show any sign of emotion, but he did realize the fact that at the moment he had no coins of this world. He turned down the 3,000 copper coins Carn was willing to give him. Looking around, Naruto made sure there were no one close by. "I don't need to pay any entry fee." The guard's eyes seemingly drained and became void as Naruto spoke, while forcing them all under his domination. It was mostly used for beast taming, but seeing how weak the humans were meant, it was equally effective against them. "Of course, you don't." One of the guards spoke, while the other nodded in agreement. At this point Naruto also realized the Adventurers Guild might have a fee for signing up, and he would also need a place to make his home for tonight and maybe something to eat. "Hand over your coin pouches." The guards acted as if it was the most natural in the world as they all handed their coin over to Naruto. "When we've passed through you may continue your duties as usual." Naruto and Narble continued into the city. It would take a few minutes before the guards realized their coin was gone, but none of them had any idea how it happened. Naruto and Narble were walking through the bustling city. They discovered it was quite a bit bigger than they had initially thought. If Naruto didn't know better, he would have thought it was the capital. By sheer size of the city, Naruto estimated roughly 1 million people lived here, and by seeing the clothes and cleanliness of the average person, the standard of life in the city was quite different from Carn village. Another thing that quickly became apparent to both Naruto and Narble was the language. They could see the signs and through the shop glass what the establishment was selling or producing, but they couldn't read the written language. Still, finding the Adventurers Guild wasn't hard as it was located near the town square. Approaching the building, Naruto and Narble walked inside without issue. The place was teeming with different kinds of people, some dressed on loose leather and metal gear, while other in more loose robes. Most people inside were gathered in groups of 4. The building itself was quite vast, being able to fit roughly 100 people on a busy day. There was a staircase leading to a second floor and a large bulletin board on the first floor, where the adventurers got their mission from. Seeing the adventurers forming lines after having picked a mission, Naruto decided to approach one of the women. Clearly they were some kind of secretary working for the guild. "Greeting, I and my companion here are new to this city and wishes to enlist as adventurers. Could you assist us?" "Certainly, please head into the waiting room on your left, a guild representative will be with you shortly." They had only waited inside for 2 minutes before Naruto noticed Narble's seething rage. "Something wrong?" "It's unforgivable for lower life forms to make a supreme being wait like this." "It's fine, Nabe, besides I like spending time with you." That's all Naruto had to say for her anger to disappear. Honestly, it was a bit too easy. One single compliment and the women in Nazarick would blush up a storm, like Narble was doing right now. Naruto briefly wondered if he had the same effect on the men, like Sebas, Demiurge and Cocytus. After roughly 10 minutes of waiting, the woman they had spoken to at the desk entered the room, bringing with her a stack of paper. In the end, Naruto and Narble were forced to sit and listen through 3 hours of rules and regulations. Some of the information was valuable enough, such as the guild rankings and how rare adamantium adventurers were. The rankings going from copper, iron, silver, gold, platinum, mithril, aurich, alchem, adamantium. Apparently the only two groups of top adventurers were Blue Rose, who operated in the capital, and Red Drop, which operated near the northern border at the moment. Still, all these ranking did make Naruto wonder how much each adventurer party varied in strength. What was the difference between copper and iron, or orich alchem and adamantium? Though by far the most intriguing news was the fact that Blue Rose worked and was friends with Princess Renner, which only confirmed what Naruto wanted to know, the fact that top-class adventurers get powerful contacts. Besides, Naruto couldn't think of any better place to gather knowledge of the world than the royal palace. Finishing their visit at the Adventurers Guild, they were recommended an inn to stay at, which was seemingly perfect place for beginner adventurers. But sadly, as Naruto and Narbril headed for their new destination, Naruto slowly began wondering if someone had pulled a joke on him. As they kept walking, the buildings began to deteriorate in value, and the people began looking more like bandits than average citizens, and Naruto realized they were heading into the slums of the city. Finally reaching their destination, Naruto could at the very least confirm that he hadn't been tricked, as he could see the large sign on the building having a picture of a bed. Approaching the door, Naruto walked in, with Narbril on his heels. Naruto had expected the inn to be dirty, but the interior was even worse than he imagined, his eyes instantly landing on some smeared food and liquid on the floor. Despite the poor state of the building, it wasn't empty by any means, as Naruto quickly saw other copper and silver plates belonging to other adventurers. Naruto once more managed to become the center of attention, the other people present eager to size him up for his worth. Quickly walking towards the counter, the man behind gave them a quick look. "Copper plates, if you want a room, it will be 5 copper per night, meals cost extra. I would like a double room, forget the meals." He would rather starve than eat what's served at this kind of pigsty. Well, he could always contact Pistania and get the maids to make something, which he could pick up later. The man at the counter snorted. "You wouldn't be able to afford it, not when you're ranked copper. We've only signed up today, payment won't be a problem." 7 copper. Naruto swiftly laid the amount out on the counter, the man quickly scooping them all up in his hands. "First room up to your right." Naruto gave a small nod and turned towards the staircase, but he barely managed to get a single step in before someone from the table next to the counter put his foot out trying to. Naruto looked at the bald man, who sent a challenging look back at Naruto, his 2 friends sitting next to him with broad smiles. It was pathetic really, the way they tried to intimidate him. Lightly pushing the man's foot aside, Naruto attempted to quickly pass through, but the man who had attempted to block his way quickly got up from his seat and moved in Naruto's way. "Boy, that fucking hurt, you piece of shit." The man yelled while pushing one hand forward and placed it on Naruto's armored chest. "I see, sorry, I didn't realize iron plate adventures were so fragile." Naruto responded. In all honesty, Naruto was desperate to get away, he could feel his hostility building at a rampant speed. "Oh, a comedian huh, well you do have a rather cute girl behind you, how about lending her to me for a night and I might forgive you." The inn was eerie silent, and while Naruto didn't respond to the men, the slow look of pure wrath that slowly washed across his face was answer enough. In a quick motion, Naruto placed on hand on the man's shoulder, pushing him roughly. The man was forced to turn around and face away from Naruto. Naruto proceeded by grabbing both the man's wrists while raising one leg high up to the man's back. It took less than a second as Naruto used just a small amount of force to push the man's back with his leg while he pulled back on the man's arms. The man didn't get to even yell in pain as both his arms reaching to his shoulders were ripped off. There was no longer anything holding the man back, so he fell headfirst to the floor. "Ah, my arms. My fucking arms. Aghh." The man began wailing around on the floor. Naruto released both arms in his hands, letting them fall to the floor with 2 small thumps. Disgusting fucking vermin, when something as ugly as you die, it's surprisingly pleasant to look at. Walking over, Naruto reached down and grabbed the man's throat, slowly raising him into the air, the man gurgling in pain, while blood shot out from where his shoulders used to be. "Oh, wait a minute." Naruto threw a small look towards the innkeeper. "Well, it's true he started the conflict and small fights between adventurers aren't uncommon. If you kill him, you will still be charged with murder," the innkeeper explained. Naruto gave the wailing man in hand another bored look. "Disgusting piece of shit, don't ever show yourself in front of me again," Naruto said as he lightly threw the man away. At least Naruto considered it a light throw. The man hit the ceiling and landed on the other side of the inn. "Let's go, Nabe." "Yes, Kurama-san." She quickly corrected herself as they both headed towards their room. Entering, it wasn't much better than downstairs. "Are you really needed to stay at a filthy place such as this?" Narbril spoke, bepising the room they had bought. Clearly, she wasn't affected by the show of violence Naruto had performed downstairs. "It will do for now, Nabe," Naruto said as he sat down on the bed. He was quite surprised by the sudden act of violence downstairs, but something in him simply clicked when he had talked about borrowing Narbril. After all, she belonged to him. No, that wasn't right. Nishiki Enrai created Narbril, but he wasn't around anymore. Then surely all of Nazarick and everything within was all his, including Narbrel, his eyes suddenly locking with Narbrel's own. "My lord?" she asked, noticing his strong gaze. "It's Kurama." "Of course, forgive me na Kurama-san." This is why he had wanted to bring solution, she had superior acting skills. "It's fine, but just try and keep it at Kurama or Kurama-san. Anyway, do you understand our current objective? To gather fame and spread your glorious name while hiding our real identities." Naruto was satisfied with her answer and gave a small confirmative nod. "Still, I don't understand why you would bring me for such an important mission. When it comes to your safety, wouldn't someone more beautiful and gentler like Albedo-sama be a better choice? Albedo's in charge of Nazarick while I'm gone, she's the only one I can entrust with that task." Narbrel gave her own small nod. "Of course, but is it really necessary for you to stay here? Wouldn't it be possible for you to teleport back to Nazarick and simply come back here tomorrow? I can hardly bear the thought of a supreme being such as you to sleep in such a place." "Yes it is, we can't simply come and leave as we pleases while inside the city, despite this being our private room. What if someone comes knocking knowing we should be here? I want the people of the city to be able to feel our presence," Naruto replied. Narbrel was about to reply, but two quick knocks on the door stopped her. Both looked towards the door for a moment before Narbrel turned towards Naruto, her face full of awe. "Please don't look at me like that, it was a fluke." Narbrel, performing her duties as Naruto's guard, checked the door and making sure it wasn't someone who meant Naruto harm. "What do you want, fly? That's not how you greet people at the door." Naruto quickly got up from the bed and walked over. "Excuse my companion here, how may I help you?" Naruto asked, quickly pushing Narbrel aside. The one at the door was a young woman with messy red hair, tanned skin and a solid muscle definition. The girl looked unsure of herself, or rather she looked scared. "Downstairs, that guy you threw, he spilled my potion, I would like compensation," the girl admitted, though she still looked quite unsure. Though Naruto briefly tried putting herself in her shoes, she had just seen him viciously rip the arms of a grown muscular man. It would be strange if she wasn't at least a bit on guard. Still, was a potion something important or expensive in the city? "Yeah, sure thing, you can have this." Naruto reached down in his pocket and pulled a lesser healing potion out of his inventory. The woman looked a bit surprised as she saw the potion. "But this we're equal, right?" "Oh, yeah sure." Finishing their business, Naruto watched passively as the women walk away again before closing the door to the room again. "Should I dispose of her na Kurama-san?" "No, it doesn't matter, leave her be." Naruto could feel his mental fatigue building up. The majority of humans disgusted him greatly, and Naruto was still bothered by the fact that after having flawlessly put up a great front the entire day, he became violent downstairs and snapped. What if this was going to hurt his chances as an adventurer? Would they kick him out of the guild tomorrow? Naruto began to seriously question his own ability to hide in a human society. His bloodlust kept on flaring up on him, begging him to kill something or someone. "Nabe, I'm going out to inspect the neighborhood. I shall accompany you, my lord." "No, you will stay and guard this place. For now we still need to be careful. Contact me immediately if someone tried to break in. I will also leave the daily call-ins to you." As Naruto left the room, Narbrel released a long sigh. Her eyes that had been on guard all day relaxed, she slowly slumped to the floor, even her ponytail seemingly lost some of its energy. She was tired, her guard had been on 120% all day. Guarding Naruto-sama was honorable work that she didn't doubt her sister envied her for having been granted, but it was also quite exhausting. Rabbit's ear. Two large adorable rabbit ear appeared on top of Narbrel's head, the item granting her improved hearing should anyone approach their room or attempt to eavesdrop. Making sure no one was near, Narbrel proceeded to use the message spell. A gentle and sweet voice quickly entering her head. "Narbrel, is something wrong?" Albedo's voice filled her head. "Yes, this is the scheduled report." "Good, then let's begin with the most important issue. Has Naruto-sama mentioned me today?" "Naruto-sama did mention you're the only one whom he can entrust with Nazarick in his absence." A quick feminine giggle full of happiness quickly entered her head. "But I've always known you're a good girl, Narbrel. This is an order. I want you to keep improving my standing with Naruto-sama." Narbrel could feel her eyebrow twitch. Was that really worth an order? But then again, maybe this was one of Albedo's plans to better serve Naruto-sama in the future. If so, then it made sense. "While that flat chest lamprey is away, I will shorten my distance with Naruto-sama and become his wife." Judging from her tone, Narbrel began wondering if Albedo was dancing. She sure did sound happy. "Albedo-sama, is something wrong? Your breathing is a bit off." "Oh, you've noticed, it's nothing important, I'm just spreading my scent on Naruto-sama's bed." Narbrel listened closely and realized that Albedo-sama was most likely also pleasuring herself while on Naruto-sama's bed. "Albedo-sama, if you're busy, I would report back tomorrow." Narbrel suddenly felt a little uncomfortable speaking with Albedo, knowing she was touching herself on the other end. No, it's not important, instead tell me of your sisters, who do they support, me or Shalltear? Narble slowly visualized all her sisters in her head. Myself, Yuri 1E-sama and Lapus Regina 1E-sama all support you, but I believe Solution gets along well with Shalltear and would support her as Naruto-sama's primary wife. And CZ and Intoma. I'm not sure, Intoma and Solution both enjoy eating people, so she may also support Shalltear, and as for CZ, seeing as how she favors cute things, I believe she may support Ora-sama. A sudden horrified gasp rang through Narble's head. Or of course, I can't believe I let my guard down, just because she's a child. Thank you for this information, Narble, now please tell of everything that has transpired today. Narble felt a sense of pride swell within her as the guardian overseer praised her, and Narble quickly began a detailed explanation of everything that has happened today, the report going fine until Narble told Albedo about the fact that they were sharing a room. Narble, are you trying to compete with me, huh? Of course not, Albedo-sama, I'm only following Naruto-sama's orders to the best of my ability, I couldn't possibly imagine of competing with your beauty and grace, Albedo-sama. She could hear Albedo grinding her teeth. Very well, but Narble, should Naruto feel the urge for relief, I want you to remind him that I'm always ready to receive him, he needs only summoning me to his side. Of course, Albedo-sama, then I will end the connection here. There was a total of 41 supreme beings, who varied greatly in races and personalities, Naruto being the only remaining of the 41, was one of the rare supreme beings in possession of a reproduction organ, if he got aroused he could have anyone in Nazarick he wanted, but Narble would only think it naturally for him to go to Albedo, as she was the most beautiful woman in Nazarick. Sadly, Narble didn't believe herself anywhere near beautiful or worthy enough to help relieve Naruto-sama. A few minutes after Narble had finished her report to Albedo, Naruto returned to the room in a good mood, it almost looked like a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Next day, Adventurers Guild. Whoa, there he is, the golden armored one. Man, who cares, instead look at the babe next to him. Be careful with what you say. What do you mean, she's fucking hot. I've heard another adventurer made rude remarks about her last night, the guy in golden ripped the man's arms off. There's no way, you can't just is the man alive. Yeah, they rushed him to a temple and regrew his arms, but he's apparently mentally scarred. Holy shit, dude. Naruto was doing a good job at ignoring the many comments flying through the guild while looking at the notice board. Narble stood by his side, and while she also did her best at ignoring the comments, she was a bit more visibly upset. Naruto briefly wondered about this world's language, everyone in Nazarick was speaking Japanese, and from what he understood everyone in this world spoke it as well, but the language was different. Was the reason everyone sounded Japanese because he played Yggdrasil on a Japanese server? Seeing Narble look at the posters with the same confused look he had, Naruto realized Narble couldn't read it either. Still, Naruto didn't want to admit this in front of her, everyone in Nazarick treated him like some kind of god, she would surely be extremely disappointed in him if he admitted to not being able to read. The pressure of having no idea what he was looking at, combined with the murmuring of the humans around him, finally became enough as Naruto grabbed a random job request on the board and headed over to the service desk, Narble ate behind him. I would like to take on this request. The woman at the counter looked over the request and blinked once, then twice before looking up with a small smile. I'm sorry sir, but this request is for platinum adventures and above. We can manage. Multiple adventurers overhearing the conversation began fixing Naruto with hostile stares. Well, it wasn't unusual for people to come up to the counter and beg for a job request they weren't qualified for. Naruto coming up and claiming to be able to handle a platinum quest was a show of arrogance, annoying the other veteran adventurers. You may be sir, but if you're not people can die as a result. Naruto fixed her an annoying glare. My partner here is capable of 3-tier magic and my combat abilities are capable of matching it. Many of the hostile stares quickly disappeared, 3-tier magic was an amazing feat. Suddenly the adventurers understood Naruto's confidence. I understand, but still rules are rules, I can't allow you to take on this quest. Naruto released a small sigh. Very well, could I ask for your assistance then in choosing the hardest copper mission for us? Naruto has considered bringing the woman under his domination to make her agree, but if anyone were to question her later on and she wouldn't be able to explain, then it would lead back to Naruto and only raise questions. Of course, it will only be a minute. Naruto wore a bitter smile. Well, he was annoyed, he was stuck at the lowest adventure level, he was also quite satisfied he had managed to hide the fact he can't read. Hey, if the two of you are looking for work, you're more than welcome to team up with us. Naruto turned his head towards the source of the voice and saw a standard group of 4 people, and then he saw their silver plates, a wave of disappointment filling Naruto, he had hoped to group up with at least a gold team. Grouping up in itself wasn't a bad idea, if he could show off his talent as an adventurer, they could spread his name far and wide, but would anyone even bother to listen to silver plates? Even so, it was better than nothing. You guys have a worthwhile job. The blonde man, who looked to be the warrior and leader of the group, brought his hands up and scratched his blonde stubble. Well, I would think so, if what you said is true, about your partner being a third-tier magic caster and you having strength comparable to that, we could certainly use a hand. Very well, we will be happy to team up with you. As Naruto agreed, they begun moving upstairs, where several tables and chairs were lined up. It looked like the place where parties recruited newbies into their teams. Taking the first and closest table to the staircase, all six quickly took a seat, with Naruto and Naruto on one side of the table, while the other were in front of them. Then allow us to introduce ourselves. I'm Peter Mock, I'm the warrior of the group and the leader of Swords of Darkness. Naruto didn't really like the name, but he had heard way worse, besides maybe the name has meaning in this world. To my right is our Ranger Lucrit Valve. Hey. Naruto wanted to release a long sigh. The Ranger Lucrit looked to be around 20 years old, he had the same blue eyes and blonde hair as the team leader had, and he was obviously infatuated with Naruto. He would have to take care of this before half the men in the city came proposing to her. This one here is our spellcaster ninja. It's nice to meet both of you. Naruto could tell instantly that this person was a girl, trying to dress up like a guy, no idea why though, if she had some goal she wanted to accomplish, or if she just liked dressing as a guy. He also has an amazing talent. The leader spoke, while Naruto raised a single blonde eyebrow. What's a talent? Naruto had never heard of something like a talent in Yggdrasil. Oh really, that's quite impressive. Naruto simply played along, they made it sound like a big deal, so Naruto rolled with it. It's not that impressive, it's a simple talent, which allows me to learn spells twice as fast as normal people. That information already gave Naruto a good deal of knowledge about talents, it was like an individual quirk. Honestly, I think someone like Bear has a much greater talent, he's able to use any magical item without training. While Ninja spoke, the second Naruto heard that, his immediate thoughts went to the staff of Ain Zuelgaon. Perhaps it would be best to get rid of someone like that early on, even though the staff was being safeguarded by Omega on the 8th floor. Almost as if reading Naruto's thoughts, Naruto leaned in close. That could prove dangerous. Indeed. They kept their voices low as to not be heard by the others. The leader then pointed towards the last member of their group. This person here is Dine Woodwonder, he's our druid and healer. It's an honor to work alongside you both. Of course, he's a druid who's named Woodwonder. Seeing the group were done presenting themselves, Naruto realized it was his turn. My name is Kurama, this here is Nabe, we've only just arrived in E-Rantel yesterday, it's a pleasure working with you all, if you have any questions for us, feel free to ask. A hand quickly rose up high coming from the Ranger Lucrit. I have a question, please don't rip my arms off, but exactly what kind of relationship do the two of you have? Boy Lucrit, you're being rude. The leader Peter interjected. No, it's quite alright. I've realized I didn't make the best impression last day. It's been a long journey for us to come to E-Rantel and I've snapped, but to answer the question, we're lovers. Ah, my heart is shattered into a million pieces, what a truly cruel world. Naruto was happy that Lucrit was causing such a commotion, if not for that, they may have seen Naruto looking at him in shock, before quickly pulling her gaze away, she had to look down and hide her blush, while trying to gain control over it. Could you inform us on the mission you're taking? Well, the first thing you should know is that this is not exactly a mission from the guild, but more like monster hunting. Peter explained. Monster hunting? Which kinds of monsters? The map was quickly rolled out across the table, and Peter pointed towards a forest south of E-Rantel and close to the border with the slain theocracy. We expect to mostly run into packs of goblins and their packs of wolves they tame, and in rare cases, maybe an ogre or two. Goblins in themselves weren't that impressive, but Naruto knew they varied greatly in strength. Was the group comfortable that they wouldn't run into any strong goblins? I see, is it possible to meet a goblin warlord or a goblin general? The members of Sword of Darkness gave Naruto a small confused look. Well, I've never heard of goblins like that before, from what I've heard, they are just standard goblins. Naruto realized he had fucked up by mentioning monster from Yggdrasil without checking if they existed in this world first, but thankfully it seemed like they passed it off as nothing. I see, but how exactly are we getting paid for this, if the guild isn't involved? We will have to bring back proof of the monsters we've killed, the city council will then pay us what they believe we deserve for our efforts, and then they will report our killings to the guild to rank us up if they believe our achievements are satisfactory. Peter explained in great depth. Very well then, we look forward to traveling with you. Our group has to make a few preparations before we're ready to head off, we can be ready in an hour, and then we can discuss how to share the pay then, is that fine with you both? Naruto gave a small nod, and with that the negations were over. Naruto remained seated with Naruto, while the other group left. Naruto, are you alright? Naruto asked, noticing Naruto having remained completely still ever since Naruto revealed they were lovers. Yes, Naruto-sama, it's just to pretend to be your lover. Does it bother you? No, on the contrary, I've never been happier. Naruto looked at him with bright red cheeks and a cute smile he hadn't seen till now. She was usually always calm and composed, but the joy of pretending to be Naruto-sama's lover was too great to hold back. Naruto found himself getting lost in Naruto's gray eyes, her burning red cheeks and pink lips. He wasn't sure which part he found most attractive, but all three of them had an effect as Naruto began leaning in closer to Naruto, who looked in shock as it seemed like he was going to kiss her. Naruto-sama. She perked her own lips, fully preparing herself for his kiss, only a few inches away. Kurama-san. Naruto and Naruto quickly pulled away from each other, both with a small flustered look. What is it, Peter-san? Naruto asked as the leader of Swords of Darkness came running back up the stairs. Inferior Bearer is asking for you, it's a personal request. Slain Theocracy. 6 figures had gathered in a small dimly lit room, all of them were wearing simple white robes, while they sat at a small table. It's impossible to think the entirety of the sunlight scripture eradicated. This loss will take years, if not a decade, to compensate for. It's indeed hard to imagine so many elite soldiers being wiped out. Do we know who or what's responsible? I'm afraid the details are vague. We did have a member from the Windflower scripture cast a divination spell on Negan, but even the divination spell was blocked, or rather it lashed back towards the caster. Anti-espionage magic. Yeah, and a very powerful version of it. The man keeping an eye on Negan has died, though he was capable of delivering 2 vital pieces of information before his death. And that was? Demi-human, Naruto. The race and name of the one responsible. It's possible, but after what happened, we've had the Black Scripture Thousand League astrologer take a look at the field where the sunlight scripture was last seen. The only thing she could see was tunnels. Tunnels? Yes, as if some massive beast had moved beneath the ground. Judging from the size, if these tunnels were truly made by a beast, it would at least be 2 kilometers long and 35 meters in width. A terrifying thought to think something like that could exist. Not even the biggest of dragons get close to that. Unfortunately, we don't have more information around what created these tunnels or anything about this demi-human called Naruto. Then let's focus on the current pressing matters. Without the sunlight scripture, we won't be able to send them to help out in the Draconic Kingdom this year. Hopefully the Empire's assistance will be enough. We've already got our hands full with the elves. Nazarick 8th floor. Large explosions and lightning filled the vast open wilderness as 2 figures clashed and sent attack after each other. Come on sis, is this the best you can do? I'm not even having fun yet. TSK, arrogant bitch, fine, just don't begin crying when I bury that pale face of yours in the ground. Both figures were women. One of the women had dark hair tied into a ponytail, which almost extended all the way down to her ankles. She had crimson eyes, similar to her creator. She also had a lithe figure and larger than average chest. She was wearing white long-sleeved jacket, black shirt, red tie, red skirt and black tights. Must you use such crude language, little sister? If father was here, he should wash your mouth with soap. Spoke the other woman, her appearance being quite different from her younger sister. The other woman, who was the elder sister, had long free-flowing light blue hair that extended down to her hips. Her eyes was an equally matching light blue. Her complexion was snow pale, and much like her sister, she had a larger than average chest. Unlike her sister choice in wardrobe though, this woman was wearing a simply dark dress, while in her right hand, she held a blue spear that was crackling with electricity. Once more both women met in a close fierce clash. This intense sparring session was all due to Naruto settings, in which both sisters saw each other as rivals. You know, little sis. I've heard father has infiltrated a human city. If he's left Nazarick, shouldn't we be there to protect him? The two of them were currently trying to push each other back, as the younger sister had thrown a punch her big sister had blocked with her spear. I very much doubt father needs any kind of protection, though he did bring a Pleiades with him. The Pleiades, which one? The last part was yelled out in shock as she had been distracted and didn't have time before the blast of lightning hit her in the face and sent her flying back. Fuck you, Mashini. You knew I was distracted. If you get distracted in a fight, it's your own fault, Yuri. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.